Hey everybody, how's it going? Did you guess it correctly the other day? This is, of course, an E-mountain bike. It's a Lapierre eZesty AM LTD. It's got 160mm of travel, 150 on the back, and it is electrifyingly good fun to ride. It's brutally quick, compared to my legs anyway. I've had a lot of fun on it over the last few days. I can't wait to take you on more adventures to new places that I couldn't get before on my normal cross-country bike. But also, when I'm riding my cross-country bike, I can take other people out on this, take them to places that they've never been before either. It's a massive enabler of just doing new stuff, going further, climbing bigger climbs, steeper climbs, just having a massive explore. And I can't wait to show you exactly how I'm going to integrate it into my training and having a real good fun with it. And I would love to know if you actually correctly guess what the bike is. There are a few correct guesses, and there are some really cool ideas of what it could have been as well. I quite like the idea of a tandem, an electric tandem, or one of those cargo bikes, back feet, someone said. All really cool ideas, and I'd love to ride those bikes in the future. One day maybe. There we go, that was a good little warm up through the bushes. So the real keen eager of you might notice this isn't filmed on the same day as a few of the other shots. That's because, well, stay tuned to the very end of the video to see why. But it brings me on to another point that I think e-bikes are going to be really good for. That is injury recovery. With rocks, luckily 160mm of travel all makes it feel like a magic carpet. So for cross-country rides, sort of riding I do, you're never going to feel a single bump basically. Floaty, smooth. Luckily, the massive 200mm rotors bite pretty hard. And if the rotors didn't bite hard enough, the motor certainly does. So the bike is properly slack. It's got really confidence-inspiring head angles. 65.5 degree head angle, 75 degree seat tube, which is developed to make it climb pretty well. Means you don't have to slide too far forwards in the saddle. And in turbo mode, which is, well, it's not turbo mode, but the highest power setting right now, it is so much fun. It's an extra 300 watts with a max power output of 420. And it just helps you float up stuff that otherwise is genuinely a real slog. Like this, I can ride up this, but I can't get wheel spin and continue moving, so it just maintains extra momentum. You can hit stuff like so much harder and without correct thought, which means you're going to be taking weird lines just because you know you can get away with it, and that makes it a lot more fun. If you're on e-bikes, get it. I'm not going to try and change your mind. It's completely up to you what you think about bikes. The only thing I would say is if you've never ridden one, try it, because you do not know how much fun you're missing out on. Like, they are stupendously quick and capable and just amazing fun. Like, this is a hard climb. On my cross-country bike, I'd be in the 3850, really on the nose of the saddle, screaming away. I don't think I'd be having a conversation like I am now. It just takes you to places that you couldn't dream of going otherwise. So with that in mind, I cannot wait to go on big adventures and show you places that I've not been before, open up some new trails, new styles of riding, just have a lot of fun with it. I've always really loved e-bikes and I just really wanted to have a go on one. So right, this little climb on the cross-country bike, you have to put in quite a lot of line thought choice, but on this you can just stick it into a spinny gear and plow straight up the middle. You don't have to put anywhere near the same thought in. I reckon the best way of describing this is descents become climbs, and because you're going so fast, climbs become descents, and you can start hitting stuff as if it was a technical descent whilst pedalling uphill. I was not joking about the size of those mud guards. These are the mud huggers and they are absolutely massive. But they keep you clean. So the spec and the components on the bike, starting from the front, Lapierre's own brand grips on Race Face 6XC carbon bars. They are 785mm wide. SRAM Guide RE disc brake levers and calipers. EMTB SRAM GX Eagle shifters, dropper post lever, but we've also got the control box for the FAZUA motor. Dropping down the front of the bike, Fox suspension. They are Fox 36s. They've been tuned especially for e-bikes. They come with the Fit 4 damper as well. 160mm travel on the forks, Obviously the boost these days as well. We've got carbon wheels, which are Lapierre's own brand carbon wheels, just like on my cross-country bike, with the only major difference being these wheels are 33mm internal, not 25. Then we've got Maxxis high roller 2.5 tyres up front and on the back as well. Out back then we've got the Fox Float DPS factory KASHIMA coated rear shock, same coatings on the forks. That offers 150mm of rear wheel travel. Then moving up to the dropper post, that again is a Lapierre own brand dropper post. That's a carbon fibre dropper post, and the saddle is also a Lapierre saddle. Bike setup. So I'm currently running 22 PSI in the rear tyre, trial and error at the moment. It's a bit of an experiment. 21 in the front. In the front fork, I have a 95 PSI, which gives me around 20% sag. So it could possibly be a tiny bit harder still. In the back, I got about 260 PSI. 170mm cranks from FSA, they engage directly into the FAZUA motor and battery, which can be removed. You can then fix a blanking plate in there. So you'll save 4.5 kilos off the weight of the bike, which will bring that down to around 14.5 kilos with pedals. And it'll just be quite, you know, quite a lively trail bike. Not sure about the looks of the mudguards, but after riding 60 kilometers on Sunday and getting home, having a clean backside and just walking in and sitting on the sofa, can't really argue against the mudguards. It's going to keep my camera gear clean and dry and well protected. And also more importantly, when Micah's riding it, it's going to keep her nice and clean and dry. And then she can feel me doing cross-country training on the other bike, which I think is going to be something that will work really well. I didn't mention it before, the dropper post, carbon fibre, 150mm of drop on there, which is ideal again, especially for getting on and off the bike, but also for having two different people ride the same bike. I think that's a really cool feature actually. So I mentioned the motor, all of it can be removed. As I said before, it's a 252 watt-hour battery, I think it's quoted on the website. I had a brilliant ride for 58 of 60 kilometers on Sunday. And then on the final climb, the one climb that I've been saving the battery for, it died out. And yeah, I mean, there's plenty of warning. You've got the dial up here on the bar. You can see exactly how much you got left. But luckily it's not too heavy to pedal back up the final climb. But 58 kilometers of pretty consistent use, I think is really not that bad at all. And also they say when the bike's new, you don't get quite the same range as you do after a few rides. You know, everything loosens up, all the factory grease loosens up and everything just becomes that little bit more efficient with time. So I'm looking forward to seeing what I can actually get out of it. Also, I used it in boost mode a lot because I rode with Tristan and Steve on Sunday and I want to give them a really hard time. I think already one of my favorite functions of the bike is that if I want to go out and do a mega hilly endurance ride and a real technical ride, I can actually use the motor to keep me in those endurance zones rather than dipping over into anaerobic energy systems and things like that all the time. So it's taking the strain off your muscles and off your cardiovascular system that otherwise is turning that endurance ride into something that little bit tougher. What do you think of it, dog? Final climb, back to where I started. Going to spend the next few weeks messing around with the settings, tuning it, customizing it, because you can adapt how the motor works and stuff like that, which I think depending on who's riding it, it's going to be really quite beneficial. All in all, it's just going to be a lot of fun mixing up my training by riding different bikes. And that's something I've wanted to do for years. So I'm very grateful that I can do it on this machine. That's it from me. I'd love to know though, what are your thoughts on e-bikes? Have you ridden one? Do you own one? Would you ride one again? Drop it in the comments below. Please keep it friendly. Otherwise, I'll see you all again soon. Back on the road next time. And before I forget, here's that clip from Monday.